Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and tonight I want to talk to you about the alleged kidnapping in Chicago. For those of you who missed it, earlier today, 4 young black people allegedly kidnapped and beat a white guy who reportedly has special needs, just because he's white and it's apparently his fault Trump got elected. Brittany Herring, one of the alleged fucktards involved, live-streamed it to Facebook. The 4 have been arrested and will be formally charged soon. According to a statement from the police, Brittany and her friends were found in the house with the alleged victim. Man, I don't even know how to respond to this. The incident is just fucking horrific to watch. I can't imagine the fear the poor guy felt as these fucking animals did this to him. For the record, I'm not using the word animals as some code. It's not a synonym for black. These animals just happen to be black. I'm not going to play the whole video here. There's plenty of other people uploading it to YouTube if you want to see the whole thing. Instead, I just want to talk about how this kind of thing could even happen. We are going to watch part of the video though, but I'm warning you, it is incredibly graphic and hard to watch. Skip ahead if you need to. Trying to imagine as a father what it would feel like to see your son in that situation on video. I think what bothers me most about it is that these people have no shame. They have no fear of the consequences of taping themselves committing several felonies. It's just a big fucking joke to them. Fuck the police. How do you even get to that point in your life? Unfortunately, I can already predict the answer that question will bring. It won't be their fault. It'll be the fault of a racist society that keeps them down. The weed and alcohol? Ignore that. The jovial laughter? Pay no attention. These are 4 oppressed individuals deeply traumatized by the election of Donald Trump. A lot of people are going to blame Black Lives Matter for this, and they do share some responsibility for the utter racist bullshit they spew. But BLM doesn't exist in a vacuum. The mainstream media, those fucktards running around wringing their hands about fake news right now, they gave BLM their platform. They made them a household name. They pushed the lie of hands up, don't shoot, and of blacks being targeted by police. They pushed the bullshit about any and all opposition to Obama being based on racism, and how Trump being elected is a sign of just how racist the country still is. A media that makes every reported incidence of violence by alleged Trump supporters a front-page item, but buries the real story of how those crimes were committed by liberals on the back page. But it's not just the media. Liberal politicians carry a lot of the blame too. The politics of oppression has served them well. Bernie got a lot of pats on the back for giving BLM time to speak when what he should have done is told them to sit down and shut the fuck up and stop acting like spoiled children. Hell, the fucking President of the United States has thrown cops under the bus any chance he gets to push a narrative of how horrifically oppressed blacks are. Race baiting is a very lucrative liberal business. And this shit is being taught across the country, not just in colleges, but in all levels of education. Where we were once taught to be colorblind, now you have to see color, and not only see it, but feel really bad if you're white for the sins of your ancestors. And then there's the more subtle bullshit like the video I covered yesterday from Cat Black, or Anita Sarkeesian's bullshit about everything being sexist, racist, and homophobic. Intersectionality has turned race baiting into a career for plenty of moronic fucking feminist cunts. Just the other day, Marina Shutup was bitching about how there are more characters with red hair than blacks in Game of Thrones, a fucking TV and book series set in a fantasy realm. All of this shit adds up. When you demonize your ideological opponents to this extent, the shit that happened in Chicago today isn't hard to predict. It should be expected. When somebody is supporting literally Hitler, is their life really worth anything? The rhetoric from the left has gotten out of hand. They look down on insults like cunt or moron, but they have no problem comparing the other side to the worst people in history. Calling somebody an idiot is bullying. Calling somebody literally Hitler is fine, though. This is not the last we're going to see of this kind of thing. It's going to get a lot worse because this is what the left is breeding. These people had no shame about their actions, and why should they? He's white. He's part of the systemic racism they hear is keeping them down. The racism that brought Trump to power. The racism that had fucking retards across social media literally shaking on election night. He deserved it. He's white. Here on YouTube, it can seem like the anti-SJW side is winning, because anytime you challenge an SJW, they tuck tail and run. But in the country at large and on the world stage, this kind of liberal stupidity is actually still winning. It's still the norm. It's the accepted rhetoric. Black people are horribly oppressed. America is racist. Doesn't matter that other races have done just fine. Black people, man, they just can't catch a break. We keep them down. It's a bunch of racist bullshit. It's identity politics to the worst fucking degree, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to be called out anytime it happens, because this is the shit it leads to. There's a kid tonight with a cut on the top of his head and bruises on his body from being bound and gagged, and the only thing he did wrong was be white in the wrong place. He's the same color as those people who voted for literally Hitler. He's part of the problem. I can't imagine what he's going through. I can't imagine what his family's going through right now. We can't let this shit keep going on. This stuff has to be stopped. People are getting hurt, and it's real. This isn't a fake fucking headline. This isn't some woman who got her hijab pulled off, only to find out she made it up, or a college student who called in a threat against the rally she was part of because there wasn't enough attendance and she wanted attention for it. This was a real crime. This was a real person getting beaten and tortured for fun. And that's all I can take. That's going to wrap up this one, guys. YouTube put my original video behind the 18+ wall due to the graphic video footage. At the time I made the original, I thought it was important for people to see exactly what this mentally disabled man went through. I still do, but it's not necessary to the points I made, and most of us have seen as much as we can take of it anyway. A lot has happened since the video first came to light. The 4 teens were finally charged with a hate crime, putting an end to that retarded fucking debate. I've had a few conversations where people told me the police were just doing their job and investigating before calling it a hate crime. I'm all for proper investigation, but by the time the video came out, the police had seen it and interviewed all involved. They didn't call it a hate crime because they didn't want the PC police to get involved. We also saw idiots like Simone Sanders, the woman Satsu covered in his guest video for me, telling us it could have been because Donald Trump. She was sure to condemn it, of course, but she also ignored the fuck white people part. Which brings me to Black Lives Matter. I've seen so many people all across the political spectrum saying, "We don't know BLM was involved." Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. These assholes didn't have to be members of BLM to have been influenced by the vile racist hatred they spew. BLM and other race-baiting fucktards have taken race relations back decades. The only difference is now it's okay to openly hate white people instead of blacks. They'll happily tell you that hating a white person for the color of their skin isn't even racism. They've redefined it to prejudice plus power, which is really fucking stupid and simply an excuse for racism. This "we don't know it was BLM" nonsense is even more baffling coming from skeptics. People who never stop and say, "We don't know it was Islam" after a terrorist attack. None of these fuckers say we need to wait and see in those cases, but suddenly here connecting the dots is just too damn iffy. The last point I want to address regards comments I've seen from some people who say they didn't used to be racist, but things like what happened in Chicago are turning them racist. If you weren't racist before the attacks, there is no reason for you to be racist now. All black people weren't in that room beating that guy. Not all black people have made excuses for what happened, like the moronic "black people used to be slaves" excuse. You can stand against horrific violence and people who defend it without blaming everyone who shares superficial characteristics. You don't fight racism with racism. No, I'm not a hippie. I'm not going to tell you you fight it with love. You fight it by challenging it, by calling it out, by not letting fucktards redefine it to suit their political agenda. Stop being stupid. And that's going to wrap up this one. I appreciate all the concern in the comments. The reason I've had guests is because I had a visitor. My granddaughter's been over and I've been watching her, and it just hasn't left me any time for making videos. And I've been lucky to have some good people step in and help me deliver daily content. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out their guest videos and their channels, which are linked in the descriptions. Tomorrow we should be returning to our regular scheduled programming, and we'll be taking a look at one of our favorite SJWs and the stupid shit they've said now. Until then, thank you so much for watching. I'm the Ranting Monkey, and I will see you next time.